Welcome, everyone, to the Simply Real podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Maharaj. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated for all my future podcasts. And of course, make your way over to my YouTube at Simply Real and give it a subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I have such a special guest. I'm so privileged to have Keke Boyd with us. Keke is a mental health advocate, psychology student, a worship leader for 15 years, a dramatic arts major, a mom, a wife, and just an all-around badass woman who's so inspirational, so motivational, and I'm just so humbled to have had the pleasure to connect with Keke. Hello, Miss Keke. How are you?
Likewise, Queen. I am wonderful. I am wonderful. It is such a pleasure to be with you today. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I always say it's a beautiful day when you've gotten up and I have breath in my body and the sun is rising.
Yes, absolutely. Because many of us have not, or many people have not lived to see today. So that is always a blessing.
Right. So how are you, Keke? Tell us. I connected with you on Clubhouse from one of the rooms that we Mentors in Motion, which is just an awesome room about overcoming, trauma through resilience and recovery. And you are just a phenomenal, wonderful person who really helps people and has truly mastered the way of how you speak to others. Tell us a little bit about that room and exactly how was it founded and how did you get involved?
Wow, it is really a mind-blowing story for me because around this time last year or around December, I just knew that I was in a place where I wanted more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be an impact and give back. But honestly, sharing certain aspects of my story was not in the deck of cards to do. But I knew that I wanted to, be an impact to other women. I wanted to, grow and develop in my own right. And also just as being a psychology student and as well as being in Christian psychology, that's, a challenge in itself where it's going to stretch you. It's going to stretch you. It's going to stretch you to think bigger, believe bigger, dream bigger, and also just understand the matters of the mind. So as I was doing that internal work, that's where that stretch came. And I knew that it was time to do something beyond what I was doing. So I left, an organization because I was, at a place where I was experiencing burnout, but also at the same time, I knew that I wanted to be more impactful to a bigger audience. So a friend presented me with Clubhouse and an app, an audio app. And at first I turned it down. I'm like, you know what? I have a lot going on. What would an app, help out in this season, So long story short, I shared just a little bit about myself, and it all of a sudden turned into me, talking about my multi-abusive past that I had. And honestly, that was really my first time being open, honest, and transparent about that past. It was one of those things that I did the internal work with. I, thought that I did all the therapy and I'd moved on, but then it's what led me to be able to connect with other women on Clubhouse. And that's when I guess the favor happened. That is when the light started to happen. And that is when I started to realize that my plans was not God's plans, and my thoughts was not his thoughts, because there I started, to share how I became resilient, and championed on the other side of a multi-abusive situation that could have ended fatally, but I asked God, even in that moment, I'm like, Lord, I don't know what those plans that you have for me, but I know that if you allow me to live, I will be impactful. I will be the light. I said that in that situation. I said that when I got hit by a truck when I was younger and could have been paralyzed, paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of my life. But I knew that God had a different plan for me. So back to Clubhouse, that is really how the resiliency and the recovery came about, because I also presented this to another now sister of mine. Her name is Mary Kim, and now she's like that sister from another mister, because in that space I shared my story, and then she shared her story, and then others started to share their story. And then I reached out to her and I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. And I didn't know her from Adam. She could have said,
And she's another amazing, amazing woman. She's a powerhouse herself.
She is. So, just hopefully you'll be able to have her share her story as well. But her and I connected on Clubhouse, and we also went up under one of the clubs that's called Mentors in Motion that you were mentioning earlier. And that founder for that her name is Honey Shakur. She has, a bunch of different rooms with a lot of phenomenal people that host rooms, on mentorship based on their life experiences, based on them just sharing their story and being open, honest, and transparent about where they are, their journeys, and also just wanting to give back is how, we've come together even up under there. And then we have another room that we do together that is up under the Real Moms Club. And that is by the lovely and phenomenal Camille Joy. She's the founder of the Real Moms Club, the fastest growing parenting club on Clubhouse. So that is how those two rooms came about. Amazing. That is how, we're changing the world. That is how I connected with you. So yes. I'm just grateful.
Yeah. And Keke, I've heard your story, and it's such a heartwarming, heartfelt story. You talked a lot about being in a multi-abuse situation. When you were dealing with that situation, and then you just mentioned being hit by a truck and all these different things. How did you gain the resilience? What were some steps that you had to do internally to really start that healing process? Because I can only imagine, the resilience that it took, the courage and the boldness that it had to really come from inside of you. How did you start that process?
It really just started in my mind. It started with knowing and believing that God had a different plan for me, knowing who I am and whose I am. So all of that really truly started internally. It started with, talking to God. It started with believing bigger and dreaming bigger, and knowing, that there's healing that comes when you believe, that you can be healed. When you believe that you can be whole, when you believe that you have more to give back. And so it really started with that gradual process. And there were times that, I dealt with the fear. I dealt with, will I be able to have the intellect, or will my story be of impact? Will I be of value? And I still realize that it came to me challenging those negative thoughts, taking those negative thoughts captive, and knowing that if God has brought me this far, he's going to bring me much further. And I have to have that crazy faith enough to know that it's only crazy until it happens. So that's really what happened. And then also, I'm a strong advocate for, even outside of your own mind, start writing those things down, start doing certain things that will go towards your healing process. So I remembered, even from a younger age, having issues with social anxiety, and the outlets that I had for that healing process for me. So that was, my mother allowing me to go into arts. So the singing, the dancing, acting, all that stuff was healing for me. Oh, yeah, so I had to also remember that, even in a multi-abusive situation? What were those things? What were those healthy outlets that made me feel free, that made me feel whole, that put smiles not on just my face, but others' faces, to also know that they can also overcome by the words of their testimonies as well. So it was then going into worship leading and connecting with others in that way and sharing, certain aspects about my testimony. So I shared getting hit by a truck, but hadn't yet shared, the multi-abusive aspect of my life. So Clubhouse actually brought that out, and it allows me to also think about Romans 8:28, that all things work together for the good, not just the good things, but the bad things. The good and the bad things don't happen to us, but it's happening for us because it's connecting you and I. It connected, us with other sisters on other apps. It connected us with people that have gone through or have currently or are currently experiencing our same situation. So that is what I continue to do. I also continue to do the affirmations. Affirmations are so important.
So powerful.
It's so powerful. So those are a few things that continues to help out.
Listening to your story, which is just truly phenomenal, and hearing how you made that mindset shift and how you truly took to believing in yourself, which is really what it's all about, is having that belief within yourself, having that belief that you truly have the capacity to overcome and be resilient. Were there any times that you felt like maybe you weren't going to make it? I mean, you talked about being hit by a truck. You talked about being in a multi-abuse situation. Were there those dire times that maybe you felt, did you need that strength to get through this?
Absolutely, especially with being in a multi-abusive situation, because growing up, I was not raised to even see that kind of visual in our home. I am also, a daughter to a late pastor, my late father, and we definitely had a strict household, but not in the regard of seeing abuse, especially not physically. So dealing with that guilt and that shame of being, with an abuser and also protecting this abuser as well, it really caused me to feel like I was alone, not because I didn't have that support, but I just felt like, why me? This cannot be a story that's attached to me. Like, how am I going to get out of this situation when I'm still dealing with the crippling aspects of feeling that guilt and shame, but also knowing that I need to get out because I was also a mother of, a new baby at the time. And I wanted to, survive in order to be able to raise him and to also bring him out of a situation before he could even cognitively understand, what was going on. So yes, I was in a place where I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to. It was just so many things. And then it's, I think some people do not realize how hard it is to walk away from an abusive situation. People think you can just, just go. You can just all of a sudden make a decision.
Which is actually what that was going to be one of my questions is, I know a lot of women who are in this situation. It's a complicated situation and they may not know if they should leave, if they should stay. There's kids involved. And sometimes it comes to that point where they're just so devastated. They're so scared. What are some tips or strategies or advice that you can offer to maybe other women who are listening to this story right now, maybe in the same position, maybe battling with this, and they don't know what to do? How did you find your way out? What made you decide to make that move?
It was really starting to pay more attention to the signs. And sometimes, or most times, I personally feel like we're not in a full on sober state. So what I had to start really understanding is, okay, look at these signs, and are these signs normal normally attached to somebody that truly loves you?
Okay.
What state of mind do you want to be in when you're in a truly healthy relationship that the love is reciprocal? I want to feel at peace. I want to feel like we can have conflict, but healthy conflicts. I want to feel like we can have disagreements without feeling like I have to fear for my life. I want a loving relationship where I can still have friends, where I can still, have my family,
Right.
being a part of that. And when I'm feeling like those things are almost becoming non-existent, or I'm starting to isolate, or I'm starting to cover up, those are all, red flags. Those are all signs. When you feel like you have to, cover up for certain things that the people that are close to you are noticing, if you're becoming offensive, those are some high signs that you are not in a good situation, especially when it becomes physical. That you're not in a good situation. So
Well,
those
I
are
am
some major
just
red
so
flags.
happy, Kiki, that you find your way out of that situation. I am so blessed that you were able to move past that. And now look at you today. You are a psychology student. You are passing along your knowledge and your inspiration to others. What made you decide to become a psychology major?
Wow, because the crazy thing is that this was also a journey for me within itself. Because when I was younger, I just knew that I was different. I knew that I, in
You
a sense,
certainly
was,
are. You
you
are
know,
unique.
I knew I was unique, and I couldn't explain what emotional intelligence meant, but I just knew that I could feel emotions deeply, my own, others. I was very observant. I was very aware. I was very empathetic. I definitely knew how to think logically, in terms of just even the mindset. So I knew I was always intrigued with it, but it was on the back burner at the time because I was a single mother. I was trying to finish my first passion, which was dramatic arts. But
Oh,
then,
yeah.
all of a sudden I was in position where it came back and the things just started to flow. The people, the right relationships,
Right.
the school, the scholarships. And that's when I knew that it was a vision that was given to me even when I was younger, even when it wasn't time. So I knew, fast forwarding now a few years back, it was time to move forward because everything aligned, everything was set in place. And I knew that that is how I wanted to serve others as well. So I'm
Right. Well,
excited.
everything fell into place for you because you truly manifested it, Kiki. You visualized it, you affirmed it every single day, and you truly believed in yourself. And for everybody listening, this is an amazing story that Kiki truly, you really did affirm exactly the outcome of your life. You changed the trajectory of the outcome of exactly what you wanted it to become. What was happening to you did not have to continue, and you made sure of that. And I just love your story. I love everything that you talk about. Whenever I'm in a room with you, I could feel your energy. I could feel your good vibes, and it comes across the phone. And I know you help so many others in the room, and you're giving back in such a big way. And you're definitely going to be blessed with that. One of the things that I would love to hear about is, so you have one son, is your kids, because you always talk about being a mom, you're a psychology student, you're an entrepreneur. How are you balancing all this? Because you're
How
just
do
doing a
we
great
balance it
job.
all right? How do we? And the
I'm not
crazy part,
balancing that so well, so I need to be your
I
tip.
was like, we don't, we don't. We don't. We really just find a rhythm and make it work. And it's really truly just prioritizing what's most important in that moment. And I know that I know that my relationship with myself is important. I know that my relationship with God is important. I know my relationship with my marriage is important. I know my relationship with my family is important. So I know that I have to make sure, just like anything else I want to grow, I have to make sure that I'm watering those things that means the
Right.
most to me. So, you know,
Self-love, self-care. We always
that's so
talk about that. So important.
yeah, so it's really one of those things where we make sure that we have a family night. We also make sure that
I love
we
that.
yes, we also make sure that we also just have an open dialogue night where we're just talking about real stuff, business,
Nice.
school,
Love it. Open
goals,
communication. I
open
love that.
communication, so and then we also all have outlets as well. So we make sure that
Right.
we have those outlets. We make sure that we are checking in, holding each other accountable, because we
Right.
do also believe in our children holding us accountable as well.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's about empowering our children. It's about working together with them, which you are doing a phenomenal job of that as a mom, as a wife, and as everything that you're doing. What is your morning routine like? I would love to know.
so it actually starts at night, because like I will turn on affirmations at night to
Oh,
speak to my subconscious, and as soon as I'm getting up, I will also continue those affirmations. So I go stretch, I go to the mirror, do the mirror work is what I call it, and this is where I am looking myself straight in my eyeballs with the reflection.
yes, they said
And
that's the best way to do it. Rather than
yeah,
sitting down at a table and writing them down, which I tend to do, but it's definitely more effective and powerful when you look at yourself directly in the mirror.
yes. And I started doing that because I was realizing that at first I was having a little challenge with it. So I'm like, you know what? It's you and I. You are great.
You
You are
got this.
phenomenal. You are beautiful from the inside out. You got this.
Love it.
Your light will exude to the point where you will attract other light minded beings. So
Nice.
it's really just speaking those things to myself and knowing that wherever God takes me or anyone else, that it's not by happenstance, it's not coincidental, like it's just next level. And if He has brought us me this far, then I have to believe that He will continue to take me even further. He will continue to connect me with those that will take me to the next level, and I will do the same. I will continue to add value. They will continue to add value to me. So these are the things that I'm saying to myself in the morning. I'm also doing, my self-care. So I'll do my, exfoliate the skin.
Oh, my skincare. You see, I
Exfoliate
love
the
my
skin.
skincare. I'm not the only one. I love my little skincare routine.
So yes, I love a good skincare routine. So I'll get, even if I don't do the whole
Love it.
9, because that takes sometimes a little longer. I will still make sure I'm, doing something and listening to
Right.
something positive. So that is really my daily thing. And
I
I
love
also
it.
have cards. I have cards right at
Oh,
my
I love
desk.
them. Crush your goals. I love it. That is exactly what we're doing in 2022, Miss Kiki. We are crushing it.
Yes, so
I
I
love
am
it.
making sure I'm reading my affirmations. I also have my journal here, so I'm writing,
Right.
the journal down. It also says be creative, so a creative revolution, imagine, empower, be free, be fly. So, affirmations is a big thing
It
for
is.
me.
I totally agree. I have my kids, they have journals as well. So we do affirmations in the morning. We write down their goals and I have them write a paragraph about what they're grateful for. That way they embrace
Awesome.
gratitude every single day because I think that's so important and it's so powerful that we remember the gratitude in our heart, which of course you have as well, because that is how
Yes.
you truly gain that resilience. What is in store for Kiki going forward? I cannot just wait. I know you're gonna come out with like a book or something, or be like the next. You're gonna be phenomenal. I can't wait to see what you do next. What's in store for Kiki?
So, trying to get this degree, in
Oh, you're
psychology
gonna
for
crush it, girl. Don't even worry about that. You got that in the bag.
Thank you so much. That, and also just in training for some other things, I'll keep you in the loop later
Yes.
on with that.
Keep
And
us
just
posted. We like surprises.
yes, I will let you know, keep you posted. And also just connecting with other, again, like-minded, phenomenal thought leaders like yourself and others. I am still loving this red hair. I love it. Okay.
I think it's coming out a little bit now. It really
It's
is, but it was a lot more red than
beautiful.
this.
It is
Well, I
beautiful.
told you the story how my entire bathroom was red. So, but you know what? It was like the most emboldening moment. Honestly, I saw the red in my hair and I saw the red everywhere in the bathroom. And I just felt so bold, so beautiful, and just so different within that moment. And it was just, I can't even explain. It was just a breathtaking moment, if that makes sense.
Listen, and that's what we're doing now and moving forward. We're going to take some bold steps and some bold moves and some
Absolutely.
crazy leaps of faith. So that is where I am. That I am making sure that I'm taking the limits off of myself, off of God, off of certain relationships that, listen, I would not have even thought that it would have even happened in the way that it happened.
Right.
But I love the fact that these relationships and these connections are happening just behind answered prayers, just behind answered prayers. And we were talking about this, like, certain prayers that we have,
Right.
we envision it to happen one way, and then it happens a totally different way.
That's
But
so
then
true.
you see how it happens, and you're like, that was an answered prayer. Thank you.
Yeah, my mom always used to say when one door closes, another opens. And Keke, I used to hate when she said that because I never understood it growing up.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why? Why did these things have to happen? I don't see the door opening. There's no opportunities. But it's about the patience, being patient with the process and being persistent. And once I was able to really gain that patience and humbleness and that persistency, I was able to see how right she was. It's so true. Sometimes you don't see what's right in front of you that's going to happen. And all of a sudden, everything that you're looking towards is coming your way.
Absolutely. And I love that because I kind of flipped it and would say now that man's rejection is God's new direction. So it's a new direction, like you stated, for patience, for new opportunities, for us to operate in unlimiting beliefs, to make sure that we are continuing to go onward, upward, and forward, as I always say, because there is something greater, especially if we still have breath in our lungs. There's so many people, so much reach just by the things that has happened for us, that we will continue to be able to advocate and impact and connect with others, to change this world. So I'm just grateful to be connected with you.
Too. The power of collaboration, the power of connecting. It's such an awesome thing. Keke, I look forward to definitely keep collaborating with you. You're just an awesome, wonderful person.
Likewise,
it's so humble to have met you. And I know there's so much more that we have to look forward to. There is going to be a lot more summits that I'm going to be planning that you have to be a speaker.
Absolutely.
Look forward to that. And I want to say thank you so much for joining me today and spreading your joy, your knowledge, your bliss, everything about you, your great positive vibes and energy. I truly, truly appreciate it. And hopefully next time we can get Mary to join us and have a really cool discussion, a women's empowerment discussion.
Yes, we would have a good time. So
yeah, we have to. It's gonna be my empowering ladies. This is my empowering ladies with purpose. This is my shirt that I designed. So you are one of my empowering ladies. Love it.
Beautiful. I'm excited. Yes.
Yes.
Let's do this.
So I look forward to so much more. And to everybody out there listening, Keke, where can they connect with you and how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, you all can connect with me on Instagram, Keke B1 Love or Keke Boyd, Facebook, Clubhouse, the Wisdom app.
Oh yeah. Oh yes,
So
you're one of the wisdom apps too. Love it.
yes, whatever floats your boat or whatever outlet you choose to use the most, I'm there. Except for Twitter, I have not gotten on.
Yeah, I've like lost my password and username for a while, and I'm like, I'm not going back in.
That's me. So everything else but Twitter and yeah, what's that other one? TikTok. Yes, got TikTok as well. So still getting my bearings on that one. Or finding my bearings, but yes, you can find me anywhere.
Everybody has to connect with Keke. I have one last thing to ask. Well, we'll see if you're going to do this or not, but I have to ask. I've heard you sing before and your voice is so beautiful. Can you drop us a little note before you leave us?
Let me see.
It's
you're
gorgeous.
You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory. You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all. For from you are all things, and to you are all things. You deserve the glory.
Beautiful. I have chills. That is exactly what happened last time I heard you sing. I had chills. And I'm like, oh my God, she's so gorgeous. Gorgeous voice. Thank you, Miss Keke. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. You are such a phenomenal woman. It is such a pleasure to be in community with you.
Thank you so much. And for everybody listening, go connect with Keke. She's amazing. She's phenomenal. She sings. She does it all. She's a mom. She's everything all in one. So thank you so much, Keke. And we will definitely have you back on the Simply Real podcast soon.